Good evening, everybody. It is time for some Saturday night baseball. We're going to see if the New York Mets can continue to beat up on the Cubs after a nice, convincing 7-2 win last night. New York Mets, led by Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, and yes, believe it or not, Brett Baty went on a home run barrage. Don't forget Jeff McNeil in there as well yesterday. And Clay Holmes starting to look like the starter we were hoping he was going to be. I'm excited to be with you. The only negative thing about this game is it's not on Mets broadcast. It's on Fox. But nonetheless, we're going to have fun. Good evening to all of you. My name is Craig, and this is MetropoliFins. We are YouTube's smallest New York Mets and Miami Dolphins channel. And so I'm just super excited to be here with you. We're going to be here with you from start to finish of this game, celebrating all the ups and downs of this game. Hopefully more ups than downs, and hopefully it will be another win for the New York Mets as they look to keep pushing towards supremacy in the National League. I don't want to say this is unexpected how the Mets are doing and how much they're winning. However, I would say it's one of those things that as a Mets fan, it's hard to believe until you actually see it playing out in real time. And so I'm very excited to see this team continue to excel and continue to find ways to win. The game is going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. It's due to start in about 3 minutes or so. I'm going to run through the lineup for you here today. Leading off for the Mets will be Francisco Lindor playing shortstop. Juan Soto batting second in right. And 3-hole is going to be Pete Alonso at first base. And your cleanup hitter tonight will be Brandon Swimmo Nimmo playing left field. In the 5 spot will be Swaggy Marky V, Mark Vientos. He is your designated hitter tonight. This is something I've been wanting to see the Mets do a little bit more, which that means that in the number 6 hole will be Luis Angel Acuna playing second. In the 7 hole will be Brett the Threat Baty playing third base. Francisco Alvarez is hitting 8th. And Tyrone Taylor hitting 9th. I really like this lineup. I like this defensive configuration. Again, you get to keep Mark Vientos' bat and his power in the lineup, but you also get Brett Baty's glove playing third. That's going to leave the Mets bench tonight with a little bit of flexibility. You got Azokar and Starling Marte, the Squirrel, Jeff McNeil, and Luis Torrens. Those are your 4 bench positions. And again, McNeil is very nice because you can piece him in anywhere that you want in the lineup later on down the road and move guys around as needed. Pitching for the Mets tonight will be Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill will be pitching for the Mets. Of course, the Cubs are hitting first tonight. Running quickly through the Cubs lineup would be Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, Michael Busch, Justin Turner, Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Amaya, and John Birdie. And then pitching for the Cubs tonight will be Brad Keller. Brad Keller will be pitching for the Mets. We're going to look at his game log so far this year. So it appears that this is an opener for the Cubs because Brad Keller has not pitched more than 2 innings in any appearance so far this season. And so this is going to be an opener game. This is definitely an opportunity for the Mets to feast on some bullpen opportunities that are out here tonight. For the season, Brad Keller is 0-0 with a 3.78 ERA. Just trying to find where's the full season split? Yeah, 3.78. In 15 games, he's pitched 16.2 innings, given up 7 runs on 15 hits. A whip of 1.26, 18 strikeouts to 6 walks. So definitely kind of a control pitcher. His strikeout to walk ratio is 3-1. So that is pretty good. But I'm excited to be with you. So please feel free to chime on in. Let me know who you're rooting for. If you're a Mets fan, Cubs fan, or a fan of some other team, I would definitely love to know that. We will keep you up to date on this game as well as scores. There's one game that Mets fans maybe have a little bit of interest in that they're looking on. I want to see if that has come to a conclusion. Yes. The Braves ended up beating the Pirates 3-2 in 11 innings. With these modern rules in baseball, if you get 2 innings and extra innings and can't score 1 run, you definitely deserve to lose. I do not like the man for man, but even with the man for man, the Pirates still could not find a way to score in 2 back-to-back innings against the Braves. So Other games that are in the books, the Athletics did beat the Yankees 11-7. I wonder if people will stop laughing at me for saying the Athletics were one of the top 10 teams in baseball in my power rankings. Because nobody would deny that. But the Athletics beating the Yankees 11-7 today. And then, of course, the Braves beating Pirates. There's some other games that are in progress. We will update you on those throughout the evening as well. The Cubs are pitching a bullpen game. We're going to see if the Mets can take advantage of this from the very beginning. By the way, somewhere lost in my house is my New York Mets jersey. I have no idea where it is. So we're still wearing blue, but I guess it's time to do some spring cleaning. And I won't show you the full office behind me, but it is kind of a mess as well. My son got to be a guest player for a travel ball team today, so we just got home from that. And I guess the good news, bad news is they got walloped so bad that their games ended early, so that's why I got to be back here on time. They were supposed to play from like 4:30 to 6:30, and that did not happen. They played from 4:30 to 5:30, and so definitely a different and a bit of a humbling experience. So. All right, so Tyler McGill will be pitching for the Mets here today. We'll see. He had a little bit of a rocky performance overall. He's been great this season, but last outing was a bit of a rocky performance. So I'd like to see a nice, good bounce back for him. His ERA is still 2.50 on the season. So hopefully he can get out. Hopefully the Mets can give him some good run support early as well. Of course, starting off is Pete Crow Armstrong. Man, would he look good in center field for the New York Mets right now. Francisco Alvarez has the purple and gray City Connect themed catcher's gear on tonight as the Mets are wearing their purple and gray City Connect uniforms. The Mets City Connects are among the uniforms I do not hate that are City Connect. Wouldn't say I like them, but I don't hate them. The very first batter of the game here is Pete Crow Armstrong, and he does have a soft little liner out to center field for a leadoff single for the Cubs. Cubs don't want Cade Horton to face the top of the Mets order in his debut. Yeah, well, that's what the Mets did too for somebody the other day. I forget who that was, but they started with Huascar Brazaban, and then they brought in the starter. All right, so the Cubs do have the leadoff runner on here. Looking for the strikeout of the double play. There's a quick throw over to first, and Pete Crow Armstrong is able to get back. Cubs rank first in stolen bases in the majors, but of course the Mets catchers, I believe, rank first in throwing out base runners, would-be base stealers. So makes it for a great match this series. Crow Armstrong is going. It was a good throw, but it gets past Lindor, goes in the outfield, and Pete Crow Armstrong is going to move all the way up to third base. That was a good throw. I mean, it's maybe a little bit low. He was out, though, I think. Had Lindor been able to handle that throw, I think he was out. Maybe should have been a little bit more to the first base side. So right away, the Mets are in trouble here. That first pitch was also a ball. So we got a lot of things going on. Tyler McGill needs to settle down. Kyle Tucker's at the plate. 1 ball, no strikes, nobody out. Top of the first inning. It is now 2 balls and no strikes. So McGill cannot really afford to be getting behind here. And by far one of the biggest things that Mets pitchers are going to have to work on going into kind of the second quarter of the season here shortly is they've got to figure out how to have more efficient innings. We have way too many 20-pitch innings. There's a strike there to Kyle Tucker, 2 balls and 1 strike. I mean, yes, it's fine. You can keep trying to bring up and move up and down bullpen arms. But ultimately, it's still going to take wear and tear on your bullpen if you're consistently only able to get your starters to go 5 or 6 innings. I know we're not in the 80s anymore where pitchers will consistently go 8 or 9 innings, but if you're consistently only going 5 innings because you're not pitching strikes, it's a frustrating thing. That's going to be low for ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Now, I would imagine here McGill would not be opposed to walking Kyle Tucker, even though you don't really want to face Seiya Suzuki with 2 on, but at least for the idea of trying to set up a force out at second. And he does walk in here. I did not expect him to groove him anything. So the first 2 runners are on for the Cubs. So Tyler McGill is going to kind of take a little breather, step off the mound, see if he can compose himself. It's a lot of chaos going on here this first inning. Leadoff single, stolen base, error. I don't know if they charged the error. I don't know who they charged the error to. I guess I have to see. They gave the throwing error to Francisco Alvarez. I'm sure Lindor would have told you that he should have handled that, though. First pitch to Seiya Suzuki is a strike. So I do like seeing McGill get ahead of the batter. There's a grounder up the middle, gets past McGill, gets past Acuna, and it's going to be an RBI single for Seiya Suzuki. So there's 1-0 Cubs here already in the first inning. This is feeling like a game where the Mets are going to score a lot of runs. That's not the start we're looking for from McGill. Of course, I'm as big of a Tyler McGill fan as any, but this is not the start that you're looking for. When you're walking batters and your defense is making errors for you, it's really tough. Michael Busch is up now. He did have a home run last night as well, so definitely a threat here. Runners on first and second, still nobody out on the top of the first. 1-0 Cubs. There we go. Another first pitch strike from McGill. So that's one thing that's looking a little bit better the last couple batters. But we're going to have to figure out here how to get out of this inning. Definitely looking for the strikeout here. That's fouled away. No balls and 2 strikes to Michael Busch. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here tonight. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe on your way in. The other part is completely taking the crowd out of the game right from the start. It's like when you just give up base runners to the first 3 guys up from the opponents, it's like it just zaps the energy out of the whole crowd. There's a foul back. Oh, I thought it was a swing and miss, but it's just foul back there by Michael Busch. You know, the Mets thoroughly beat the Cubs last night, but that doesn't mean anything for tonight's game. You know, yesterday's game is done and over, and you got to start fresh, and you got to be on every single day. That pitch is low and in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Michael Busch. I hope everybody had an awesome, excellent Saturday. I'm just happy that this Mets game is not a 10 p.m. game. Of course, we'll have our brand new power rankings out next week. Mets are looking to move up a couple of spots this week. That's a swing and a miss. And Michael Busch is retired on a good pitch in the dirt there. Just absolutely died. That's a very nice pitch by McGill. Probably his best pitch of the night to induce that swing. Justin Turner now up. When I look at Justin Turner, it's like I'm looking at myself in a mirror. It's got the same red beard that I do. There's a strike, one ball, one strike to Justin Turner. Darren says, "Did you hear the Mets A-ball pitcher Jonah Tom pitch a perfect game for 6 2/3 innings?" I did not hear that, Darren. Yeah, I'm sure pitch counts and everything else plays into that. Trying to protect pitchers' arms. Midnight, how's it going? There ain't no rest for the wicked. Money doesn't grow on trees. I've got bills to pay. I've got mouths to feed. You know nothing in this world is free. How's it going? Jonathan, how's it going as well here tonight? Very slow start to the game. Rels, how's it going? Appreciate you guys hanging out, checking in here tonight. Hope you guys all had an awesome Saturday. Hopefully you got to enjoy the Mets win last night as well. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes to Justin Turner. Mendoza is not sitting Vientos. Vientos is designated hitter today, D-Rels. Yes, Jonathan, that's what Darren was just saying. Turner works the walk. McGill is definitely struggling here. His base is loaded with 1 out. Now, Justin Turner is the type of guy you can double up. But yeah, so the Mets are they look to be favoring defense just a little bit tonight. So yeah, Vientos is actually hitting 5th tonight after Nimmo and before Acuna. So we got a meeting of the minds at the mound right now. So at this point in time, as bad as this first inning has been, and McGill is 20 pitches deep, I will have to do it, but I still can appreciate the lyrics. Especially the nothing in this world is free part. I understand that. I understand that. Nico Horner up with the bases loaded. This could either a ground ball double play could get the Mets out of this inning. This is popped up right to Luis Angel Acuna. I think that's a very bad idea for Horner to be first pitch swinging on that right there. With how much McGill is struggling to bail him out like that, I mean, I will take it as a Mets fan, but just as a strategy side of me, not not a big fan of that at all. All right. Well, with that being said, now it's 2 out. So we got play at any base. No fighting on Mother's Day. Absolutely, Jonathan. I remember one year as a kid, all of us kids ended up getting in a fight on Mother's Day as to who was going to cook Mother's Day lunch. A diving stop by Beatty gets up, throws it to first. Alonso's not able to hold on to the throw. It was almost caught on a line drive. It's going to be a hit. It was super hard hit. I'm going to try to see the replay here. It was a great play by Beatty just to get to it and knock it down. Swanson probably had a beat and out. It's going to be an infield hit there. So there's going to be 2-0 Cubs. But Beatty saved at least 1 run by knocking that down. At least saved a run for now. And sometimes that's the stuff that doesn't show up in the box score. Yeah, I mean, at that level, they're going to be 100% looking at pitch counts and everything else. Miguel Amaya is up for the Cubs, and this nightmare first inning just keeps continuing on here. Amaya checks his swing. It's going to be 1-2 strikes here. Tyler McGill desperately trying to get out of this inning without any more damage being done. It's 2-0 Cubs. That's in the dirt. It's going to be 2-2 strikes here. But there's a huge difference when you're struggling as a starting pitcher between giving up 2 runs here or giving up 4 or 5 runs here. So let's hope McGill can find the pitch that he needs to get out of this inning. You've got a great offense. You've got a team that can score. Got to figure out. Amaya fouls that one down the third baseline. Yeah. No Carson Kelly, no Ian Happ, which also means the Cubs got options when it comes to their bench here as well. So we'll see. Oh, that's a strike. They call it a ball. Challenge Lance Barksdale on that one. Well, there's strike 3 called. McGill says, I'll take care of it myself. So not a great inning, but not a horrible result either. And sometimes you can have both. You can pitch an inning that's not great, but still figure out a way to get at that. That's kind of the mental toughness we've seen from Mets pitchers so far this year. These are innings that in past years, maybe the Mets pitchers give up 4 or 5 runs. How's it going, Redman? It was bad, but it actually wasn't at anywhere near as bad as it could have been. A 2-0 lead is nothing for this offense. So I like how McGill was able to bear down. Beatty's play saved a run. So all you Beatty haters, there's something you cannot hate. So Beatty's play saved a run because they did not end up scoring again after that. Cincinnati's up 7-0 in the first. Hey, that's 8-0. Yeah, that could have been much worse, midnight. It's 8-0 now, Jonathan. I have no idea what's going on with Houston this year. I'm not saying they're out of it, but they're definitely struggling. By the way, Jacob deGrom is pitching, and the Rangers are up 6-2 on the Tigers, and the Tigers are one of the best teams. Well, I've had them as the best team in baseball the last couple of weeks. So giving up only 2 runs to the Tigers is a great result for Jacob deGrom. So Carson Kelly is out. Obviously, he's on the roster and not. Good evening, Lane. Hope you're doing well, and Redman as well. So let me look. See if there's any updates that came out. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything specific there. Let me just go to a Cubs page here. Yeah, so it's not a good start, Lane, but if you were watching the game, it could have been a lot worse. Brett Beatty saved at least 1 run by knocking down the ball. Even though it turned out to be an infield hit that scored a run, it would have easily scored 2, maybe even 3. And so So Brett Beatty's defense saved the Mets a run, and Tyler McGill didn't panic even with the bases loaded. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Francisco Lindor here, by the way, in the bottom of the second. So that's one of the things that you need to appreciate as a fan when your pitchers get in trouble and they don't give up, right? Because we're talking here. It is now 10-0 Reds over the Astros in the top of the first, right? For all practical purposes, that Reds-Astros game is over because it's 10-0. And Tyler McGill Lindor chased one high there, strike 3. But you have to appreciate the difference between, the Astros giving up 10 runs. Is there 1 out now? Now there's 2 outs. 1 out for the Mets. There's 2 outs in that Reds game. But Reds are up 10-0 on the Astros in the top of the first. And that's the difference between kind of starters who – look, starters are going to have rough innings. That's just how it is. This is baseball, guys. So Juan Soto is at the plate. I know, don't show Jonathan, but we're bringing Rally Pig out for Juan Soto here. One ball, 1 strike to Juan Soto. So I was just trying to look up this Reds game. Who is pitching for the Astros tonight? 2 balls, 1 strike to Juan Soto. All right, the Astros finally got out of the first inning, but not after the Reds scored 10 runs. 10 runs given up by your pitching in the first inning is just absolutely brutal. So as upset as you might be about McGill giving up 2 runs, the fact that he got out of the inning with the bases loaded shows me that's a good sign. Now, obviously, we can't keep that up every inning, but Lance McCullers Jr. was the starting pitcher for the Astros. In 1/3 of an inning, he gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, and 7 runs. I don't even know how that's possible. And a hit by pitch. That's how it's possible. 3 hits, 3 walks, a hit by pitch, and all of those guys came around to score. And then Van Way came in and gave up 3 more runs on top of that. Just an atrocious. That's one of the worst first innings I've seen. This is high. But Pete Crow Armstrong is able to get under it. Sure would be nice if we had a prospect like Pete Crow Armstrong in the Mets organization that we could play in center field, huh? Sure would be nice if we wouldn't trade away a prospect like that for some guy. We're under a new regime. It's going to be a lot more patient. Here's Pete Alonso at the plate for the Mets. Alonso's bat has quieted a little bit. Obviously, he's still having a great season, but his batting average has dropped from like the 350 range to the 320 range. And so pitchers are going to make adjustments, and now Pete's going to have to make some adjustments back here as well. Pete fouls that one off. No balls, 2 strikes. It's 2-0 Cubs in the bottom of the first. 2 outs for the Mets. McGill struggled, but he battled through and got out of what could have been a much worse inning. So it's only 2-0 Cubs. That's in the dirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lane, nope, there's 0 reason to call up any of those guys right now. 0 reason. And Pete goes chasing slider outside. So Alonso chases and Lindor chases that inning. Soto's the only one who really made good contact there. But no. There is the moves of bringing up guys like that. Those are moves you make if you're a team in a desperate situation. This Mets team is anything but desperate. I know you want to see the Mets win every day. I know that you want to see perfect at bats and perfect pitching performances every day as a fan. It's just simply not how it's going to be. You're going to lose what? 50 games. Let's just say guaranteed 50 to 55 games. Guaranteed losses. Pen them in. And even the worst teams in baseball are going to win 40, 50 games. No, I mean, McGill might go to a bullpen, but that's not going to be till he's one of your top 5 starting pitchers. So you got to just Mets fans need to learn to think long term, right? How many Mets fans were cheering Pete Crow Armstrong for Javi Baez's trade? And how many Mets fans would much prefer to have Pete Crow Armstrong in this outfield now? Imagine Pete Crow Armstrong is hitting leadoff for the first place Cubs. I don't know where he would fit in this lineup, but he sure would fit in this lineup a whole lot better than some of the other center field options we're throwing out there. And so you've got to realize that this Mets team is trying to build a legacy team, and they're trying to build a juggernaut that will compete with the Dodgers not just this season, but for years and years and years to come. And one of the things the Mets did a couple years ago out of desperation to try to make the playoffs was bring up Francisco Alvarez, bring up Brett Beatty, and even to a lesser extent, bring up Vientos, bring up Ronnie Mauricio, bring up all these guys kind of on a rush time frame. And it's just not how baseball players develop. You have to have time to adjust to levels. You have to bring guys up where there's not going to be this presumption that I need these guys to hit home runs like crazy. I need these guys to be 400 hitters as rookies. Sean Birdie swings the first pitch, flies out to Soto right away. So you have to just slow down as Mets fans and realize that the Mets are trying to build something significantly bigger than anything most of us have experienced in our lifetime. This is trying to build a true year-in, year-out contender. They're going to look to sign big talent for big contracts when it makes sense. But beyond that, you're going to need to get used to things like having a rotating bullpen. You're going to have to get used to having a pitching staff that's going to turn over every 3 to 5 years. This is flied out to Tyrone Taylor. 2 quick outs for Tyler McGill this inning. Much better. Like I said, you look at things. Redman, so if you don't realize how much damage the previous ownership did to this franchise, and how well they actually succeeded without that, there's 2 outs here already. 2 quick outs. Yeah, 2 quick outs here in the top of the second. Kyle Tucker is at the plate. First pitch is a strike. So you need to look at everything as BC and AC, right? BC before Cohen. And AC after Cohen. Right? In the same way, you would not judge the modern day Yankees based off of their championships from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. You cannot judge this Mets team the same way you judge the Mets of 10 years ago. Look at some of the lineups the Mets used to trot out. Okay? Actually, you could do before Cohen, you could go BC before Cohen, AD after David, Stearns. If you want to go BC and AD, right? Another borderline pitch. McGill is they are definitely squeezing McGill I mean, that's a beautiful pitch, guys. That's like 100% all day with the ABS challenge system. Tucker will be called out on strikes there. So we're not getting any favors from the umpire here. And you might say, well, so he gets Tucker to fly out to Juan Soto. You might say, well, what's the big deal? He got the out, but that's extra pitches doing that. Lane, let's just wait and see who's on the Mets by the end of the season in 2025. But that is a great inning there by Tyler McGill. 3 quick, easy outs. Yep, absolutely. That's what I was saying, Justin. That inning, so by the way, the Cincinnati Reds scored 10 runs in the top of the first. 10 runs in the top of the first inning. Tyler McGill had the bases loaded with like 1 out, and from that point forward only gave up 1 run, and that was on an infield hit because they had Badian playing third base, whose defense saved a run. Yep, exactly. So my job is to kind of, I'm not saying I'm the premier baseball coach or anything, but like you guys know, I help coach Little League, and it's the same basic principles. This is what's great about baseball is the same basic baseball principles I'm teaching to Little Leaguers are the same basic principles of that. Yeah, and I agree. Like Mets fans have PTSD, and I get it. I'm going to say there's 2 ways to fix it. 1, make sure you're not living your life for the New York Mets or for any sports team. Okay, that's just like a public service announcement. If you put sports teams as number 1 in your life, you're going to just live a disappointing life. And even if you win, and even if your teams win, you're still going to ultimately, it's going to come up empty. There's so many more important things than sports. Sports should be a conduit to family, friends, and memory. It should never be the ultimate goal in and of itself. So that's one thing. Sorry, not to get preachy on you guys, but that's the first part. But the second part is, even within it, if you could just start adopting small little coaching perspectives, it's going to make, I believe, first of all, I think one of the reasons that most people don't enjoy watching baseball is they're gambling on baseball or whatever. And yeah, exactly, Justin. If you're a Dolphins fan, you know, like I'm not here like as this obsessive Mets fan. I'm going to be yelling and screaming. Like, look, whether the Mets win or lose, it changes my life 0% tomorrow. I've got more important things to worry about. I'm going to be teaching some of the middle schoolers at church tomorrow. I've got my family. I've got my son who's learning how to play baseball. I've got a couple of daughters who are finishing up their school year, trying to finish strong there. And then I got so many more big things that I'm living for in real life. And at the same time, I'm trying to build something here, right, that can help support my family and everything else that goes along with it. And so don't get super emotional about sports. Not not a, not a church league. Um, just Little League for my son and stuff. But he did get to play as a sub on a travel ball team today. What an eye-opening experience. That's next level baseball for sure. We got some work to do, put it that way. Yeah, exactly. That's why I try to keep it fun, try to keep it light, but I also try to make it a way. Nice. Lefty reliever Felipe de la Cruz throws 98 with a nasty slider, 1.27 ERA, and 0.75 whip in Syracuse. So, all right, Kane Horton is making his major league debut for the Cubs. Brendan Nimmo is at the plate. It's 3 balls and 2 strikes. I like how it's called strike 3. Wow. That pitch is the pitch that they did not call for Tyler McGill at all. My goodness. If you lay that pitch that was just called strike 3 on Nimmo over the pitches that were not called strikes for Tyler McGill, McGill's pitch was closer than that. So congrats to Kate Horton on getting his first major league strikeout, but we need this ABS challenge system in baseball sooner rather than later. Swaggy Marquee V is up here. We're at bottom of the second, by the way. It is 2-0 Cubs. I guess Riley Pig is out for this inning, so he's going to have to stay out. I forgot to put him away. But I mean, Nimmo's absolutely right to take that pitch based on the strike zone that McGill was getting. Vientos is going to fly this one up to center field. Peter Armstrong is underneath, and that's going to be 2 outs. Yep, Mets do need lefties for sure. Brooks Raley's on his way, but it's going to be a little while before we see him. All right, Luis Angel Acuna is up. I don't know if Acuna would feel comfortable trying to lay down a bunt here, but that might be kind of a grounder to first. First pitch swing. I did not like after Nimmo's. Yeah, that was a 9-pitch inning. Nimmo's at bat was a great at bat. Vientos and Acuna did not. That was not what I would like to see there. So why is Acuna batting 6? Well, first of all, he's definitely. I mean, he's hitting 290 on the season, guys. He has the 3rd best batting average in this lineup. So the thing is, if you throw Acuna in the 9th spot, that's probably 1 less at bat per game he's going to get. So as you start hitting, you kind of want to look at the lineup in like sets of 4, right? So I would actually not mind having I don't mind Acuna in the 6th spot. I also wouldn't mind him in the 5 spot. I think Nimmo in the 4 hole is a mistake, personally. I don't mind Acuna in the 9 hole as well, but Tyrone Taylor suits there. So there's a lot of debate, but it's like you really can't. Acuna would be a leadoff hitter on a lot of major league rosters. He's just not going to be the leadoff hitter when Francisco Lindor is on your team. And so, I like the idea. Actually, I kind of like Beatty in the 9 hole. I like some protection there. I think I'd rather drop Nimmo to like the 6 hole. So I would actually probably, with this lineup, I would run something like, and again, I'm not a major league manager, but just how I like this lineup would be something like Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Vientos. Okay, so I kind of look at that as a 1 through 4. And then I always like the idea of doing a reboot. So then who's your next best leadoff hitter? Well, in this case, it would be Acuna. Then who's your next best 2-hole hitter here? You could probably go something like, you could either do, let's say in this case, for all practical purposes, you could go Nimmo as your number 2-hole hitter. And then I like, who else do we have? Then you could go Alvarez, and then you could go like Beatty, and then you could follow that up with Taylor. And, your 9-hole hitter is almost like a second leadoff hitter. First pitch swing for Seiya Suzuki, and he's going to drive it all the way outfield wall. It's going to be a leadoff double. Leadoff double here. So Seiya Suzuki is definitely one of the better hitters for the Cubs. He's been in a little bit of a slump, but he was off to a great start. So you can definitely, this part of the lineup, you could rearrange pieces a little bit. You could throw Taylor after Acuna and before Nimmo and throw Beatty in the 9 hole. I'm fine with either of those. But again, I don't, when you've got a guy who's hitting 290 on the season, you don't want a guy hitting 290. Michael Busch is going to be first pitch swinging, and he's also going to have a single here. And so in 2 pitches, the Cubs have already added a run on the board here in the top of the 3rd inning. So McGill's going to have to change things up because, they're just they're looking at, that was not a good pitch for first pitch. All right, so McGill had a rough first. All right, we're going to try something we tried the other day. We're going to see if we can put this out here now. We have the anti-rally pig. So he gets the backside. We'll see if this can slow down the Cubs here. Hey, first pitch swing for Justin Turner is swing and a miss. So we're going to We're going to try out the anti-rally pig here today. Since he's been struggling to actually score runs as the rally pig, we're going to turn around and give the backside to the Cubs here. The pork butt. The pork butt is the anti-rally pig. Justin Turner at the plate. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. The Cubs have 1 run in. There's no outs here, top of the 3rd inning. To go back to last inning, though, I did not like Vientos and Acuna's approach to the plate. Nimmo was patient. He worked what should have been a walk based on Lance Burkdale's strike zone until he changed it up for him, but had a 6-pitch at bat. And then in 3 pitches, Vientos and Acuna go down. And that's just part of growing into being a more of a mature veteran hitter. When you have a brand new guy on the mound, the last thing you want to do is let him get into a groove. If he's nervous, make him nervous. That's in the dirt. Good stop by Alvarez there. Getting a refill. Getting a refill. I got both coffee and water here tonight. So one thing I will say regarding being patient, Brandon Nimmo's approach at the plate the last week or so has been a lot better. And I think that will bode well for this Mets team. That's outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So once again, McGill is struggling to put runners away. He's at 45 pitches. He had a great inning last inning, but he's not. All right, here's the 3-2 pitch to Justin Turner. It's grounded foul. I appreciate everybody hanging out with us here tonight, spending your Saturday night with us. Hopefully the Mets can get this thing turned around. Something stronger than coffee. Coffee plus. Some adult coffee. Well, there's mint in it. There's a swing and a miss by Justin Turner. So what are we going to count for anti-rally pig? We'll count strikeouts. If we count runs, that was a good first pitch strike on the inside corner by McGill. That's much better. You can do first pitch strikes even when you're looking for them, but they have to be placed well, and McGill made that adjustment there. Oh, Alvarez nails him, guns him down at first. What a nice throw by Alvarez. They are not going to challenge it. That was a beautiful play. It was called a ball, but yeah, that was beautiful by Alvarez. Yeah, beautiful by Alvarez. Mets defense is showing out today. So I'm going to tell you, maybe there's something to it. Yeah, eggs for goose eggs? We could do something like that. I know. Justin Turner's among those players. You're going to have, it feels like half this Cubs roster used to be on the Mets. But, yeah, Justin Turner spent his first 2 seasons. What I was surprised about, called strike 3. Rally pig gets 3 outs. Good job. Sorry, anti-rally pig. Anti-rally pig maybe needs to switch from hitting to pitching. Shohei Opigi. What do you think about that, Jonathan? Anti-rally pig comes through. Shut down the Cubs there. I mean, hey. Yeah, it's 3 years. And the part I was most surprised about with Justin Turner, Justin, was that his batting average wasn't that bad with the Mets, and the Mets just moved on from him. So, yeah, Justin Turner, Mets. I'll see if I can find you guys an old picture of him. Let's see what I can find. There were also rumors of Justin Turner reuniting with the Mets, too. I'm just trying to find like old. What's this article here? I'm just trying to find. I'm trying to find like an actual picture of him. This is a funny article that starts here from December 2013. It goes to show you that it's business and nothing personal. Look at the names that some of you guys remember some of these names, but the Mets announced yesterday that they non-tendered Omar Quintanilla, Yordani Valdespin, Justin Turner, and some dude named Jeremy Hefner. Do you guys recognize that name? And hey, maybe one of your relatives here, Justin Scott Atchison. Scott Atchison. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Is that? Do you know Scott, Justin? Because that's a pretty unique last name, and you share with a former Met. So that was back in 2013. So, and then here's, let me see. How do I open this? Let's go open image in a new tab. All right, let me share this really quick so you guys can see what Justin Turner looked like in a Mets uniform. For those of you who do not remember that far back, some of you were a lot younger. That's Justin Turner long before the long beard. Justin Turner in a Mets uniform. So that's what he looked like there. So, all right. All right, it's 2 balls, 1 strike on Brett Baty. Of course, Baty had a home run and 2 total hits last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Baty now. I don't know what the official scorecard is on these umpires, but the Mets have gotten some really bad strike calls against them when they're hitting. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Baty. Baty swings at one in the dirt. Not handled by the catcher, throws down to first. He's going to be retired. So that's going to be 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. That was a really good pitch. That's similar to the strikeout pitch that McGill got a strikeout on. Francisco Alvarez at the plate for the Mets. First pitch is a ball. I think the Mets overall are going to do well to be patient with Cade Horton because you got to imagine he's on a limited pitch count. Yep. Jeff Kent, Justin Turner, Daniel Murphy. T-Rels. You're just upset Baty hit a home run yesterday. I know. Francisco Alvarez is able to lay off that pitch. By the way, Alvarez batting average is still over 300 here. Now, obviously, had a late start to the season, but that just hit Alvarez on the hand. That's not good, guys. That hit Alvarez on the hand. Ooh, boy. That is not what you want to see. And that hand is not. Oh, boy. The last thing we want to do is lose Alvarez again after coming back. Yeah, right on the top. That's hopefully there's nothing wrong here. Here, let me I'll share here really quick so you guys can see this. In case you're not watching live. I'm gonna just bring it back here. It might be a little choppy. Sorry, I got an old computer. If you want to help me upgrade my technology, by the way, it's perfect time to remind you to Patreon.
Fastball runs in.
Yeah, right
That's
off
one of the most dangerous
the
things
top
as
of
a hitter,
that left hand.
because you're always ready to
Here's
go.
the overhead
Ball
view,
starts
guys.
in, there's just no
it's just
protection there. There's
so rough. Hopefully he is okay.
When they're take it out, so he can't break that one again.
Hamate is kind of in that.
Yes. Anyway, if you guys want to help support the channel, you've got the opportunity to do so through the Patreon. Want to give a special shout out to Darren and Byford, our first two Patreons. Welsh, no All-Star announcement yet for Little League. That comes on the 15th, so we're down to 5 days. However, my son got an invite to be a sub player for a travel ball team, our first ever travel ball experience today. And my goodness, was that a little bit humbling. He got 3 at-bats in 2 games. In the first game, he got hit by a pitch and struck out looking. The second game, he struck out looking. It was very unlike him. It's just they go with a much bigger strike zone in travel ball. The strike zone that they were using today, the coach told me, was from batter's box line to batter's box line. That's so huge. And I think I'm all about an aggressive strike zone, but I think that's just too big. That's too big for – this is like for 9-year-old kids. Like, I understand you want kids to swing and put the ball in play, but yeah. So Tyrone Taylor hits a little floater out to second base there. Alvarez returns to first. There's going to be 2 outs. So Francisco Alvarez does stay in the game after getting hit by that pitch. Francisco Lindor coming to the plate here. I feel like Lindor needs to do something here. I feel like we need to keep doing that. Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind. So do we have a catcher's interference? Hold on. Oh, man. What a break for the Mets. Tyrone Taylor, instead of a little pop out, barely ticked the catcher's glove, and he's going to get to first on catcher's interference, guys. That's rarely called, but it's rarely called on a play where a batter would have been out otherwise. What a huge break for the Mets. So now Lindor is up with runners on first and second and only 1 out with Soto on deck. So here's the thing. In Little League, you don't want to see a walk fest. You want hitters to swing, because what happens is the worst hitters learn that they can just go up and looking for a walk. This is going to be fouled out of play. So I don't mind like a one baseball's width of extra strike zone on the outside of the plate. I'm going to actually look. I recorded all my sons at bat, so I want to actually look at least at the high-low. He felt his second strikeout was only 2 or 3 inches off the dirt. It might also be because he was standing further back. Lindor flies this one out to center field. PCA is under it. That's going to be 2 outs. All right. Well, Juan Soto's coming up here. The Mets could tie the game up with 1 swing of the bat here. We are going to bring out Rally Pig. Rally Pig is 0 for 2 today, because I forgot to put him back after the first inning. But anti-Rally Pig is doing well. I need a black cat for the Cubs. Yeah, you guys know the black cat game for the Cubs? First pitch is a strike to Soto. Soto is looking more and more like he's getting locked in. His batting average just keeps moving up. It's up to 266. His OPS is well over 800 now, which is far above league average, which is right around 700. Soto rips it towards second. But Nico Horner is able to make the play. So Mets caught a break, but we're unable to do anything with it as we head here to the top of the fourth inning. So the Mets team, now I got to remember a couple things about this Mets team. One is they get better as the game goes on. They just have to stay close enough. So I wanted to just look at last night's box score, but the Mets just keep they tend to keep piling on runs late. They struggle a little bit early on. You know, they've really failed to have what I thought they were going to have, which was going to be a lot more big innings. I thought they would have a lot more innings where they're scoring 3 or 4 runs, but they are at least consistently putting up 1 and 2 run innings. But it's why it's important for this team to not get too far behind, simply because they haven't shown that they can put up consistent runs. All right, so I wanted to just let you guys know, if you want to support this channel, the easiest way to do so is to do so on our Patreon. We've got the link is pinned in the description below, and I'll post it again here in case you want to check it out. Again, I would love to be able to do this full time and support my family and different things. So, for example, I'll just show you here really briefly. If you sign up for the Patreon, there's different levels for different budgets and everything, different perks that show up for different levels. But let me just, I don't know if I can close that off, but there. Let me do that. So I did a new video, the surging and slumping video that went up on YouTube, but the patrons got early access to that video. And we're going to kind of keep up with doing some of those things. Like, I think probably tomorrow night, the power ranking video will go up early to the patrons. So you'll get access to it Sunday night, where everybody else has to wait for Monday. And so again, there's zero pressure for you to do so, but if you just want to help support this channel and help us grow and be able to do more coverage, more videos, that's just a simple way that you can do it. We can't do memberships and stuff on YouTube yet, and so this is a way that you can simply support the channel now, and again, you get access to posts and polls and different things, and so you get special shout outs and videos and stuff. So patreon.com/MetropoliFins, you can go check it out if you wish to do so. If not, that's perfectly fine. I'm never going to be angry or upset with any one of you, because I know everybody's in all sorts of different situations. But like I said, I do appreciate those of you who are already supporting the Patreon. It means a whole lot to me as a small content creator, and it means a lot to my family as well. So we do appreciate all that. All right, Tyler McGill once again out here pitching. Top of the fourth inning. Maybe we need to get some Mets gear for Rally Pig. He's definitely good with the anti-rally. We have a Mets bear, and I really need to find him. I need to. So maybe the anti-rally, maybe he just needs to be fully converted to anti-rally pig, and then we go rally bear. This is high and deep and out of the park. That is a home run for Dansby Swanson. Swanson is on fire right now. It's 4-0 Cubs. So Mets are going to need to figure out how to battle back in this game. So they're going to need to find some of those runs. Kind of like blindsided me with a solo home run. There's not even enough time to get anti-rally pig, but yeah, we might have to do that. So let me do this. We got to look up, because the rally bear is the one that I'd be using. He's actually listed on eBay. So I got to find out where I have him stored, because I have like a inventory system. So I just got to figure out which bin he's in. So I'll look that up. Yeah, maybe Rally Bear, Anti-Rally Pig. He is in box 1. Box 1 down. I might have to pull that tote down from up above. All right. This is flight out to left field for Brandon Nimmo. 1 out. That was a really poor pitch by McGill. He got him on, he got ahead of 0-2 on some low fastballs, and then he just sent him a high fastball. You just can't send center middle high fastballs against guys in the big leagues who are sitting fastball. They're going to destroy you all day. John Birdie at the plate with 1 out here. 4-0 Cubs over the Mets. No balls and 2 strikes to John Birdie. One ball, 2 strike pitch. Yeah, I agree, Darren. So I'm hoping that with the changes that McGill can continue to grow. There is definitely a part of me that wonders if McGill is going to need to just move to the bullpen permanently at a certain point in time. But I know from everything I've heard from Jeremy Hefner, he's seeing something a little bit different. So I'm a big McGill fan. I really hope that he can figure this out. Comes back with another strikeout here. That's 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. No, I mean, it's a fair criticism of McGill, and I'm sure he would tell you the same thing. He's got to figure out how to be more consistent throughout the season. So the question is not whether hitters are going to adjust. The question is, now with a couple of rough outings, is McGill going to be able to adjust himself moving forward? The other thing I feel like is true, it's true for all pitchers, but I do think it's more true for McGill than others, is if McGill is pitching with the lead, he seems to be much more relaxed than when he's pitching from behind. Now, tonight is partly his fault, right? Giving up those 2 runs in the first inning, that's on McGill before his team could even come to the plate. But I do still feel like on a night like tonight, the Mets not being able to score runs early on is definitely something that leads to McGill struggling more throughout. And again, yep. I mean, he has the stuff, and a lot of people forget that he was part of the combined no-hitter. He was the starter for the combined Mets no-hitter in his rookie season. So he has the right skill set. He's got the big frame. He's the tall pitcher that you would want. He's just missing that next level of consistency. And he got Pete Crow Armstrong to chase. That's the pitch he tried. He tried to get that pitch by Dansby Swanson. He just didn't get it high enough. So one thing that I will say for the positive for McGill this year is he does not give up the big inning quite as much as he used to. So even when he's struggling, he's at least only giving up 1 run here, 2 runs there. Now, obviously, that's still not ideal. As your starting pitcher, you need to have way more shutout innings than even innings you give up 1 or 2 runs. But again, there's multiple ways this game could be 7 or 8-0 right now. And it is only 4-0. And I think that deserves to be mentioned, not in a defense of McGill saying, oh, look at how great he is, but in defense of the growth of McGill, of he is becoming better. All right, I'm going to go look for the rally bear here really quick. Hold on. All right, hey, it's right on top. That's the good news. It means my inventory system for eBay is working. He's been suffocating in a plastic bag forever. So we're going to bust him out of the plastic bag. All right. So this is, well, we're going to try now. So, Rally Pig, you have officially been benched. Rally Pig has been benched and sent. He has been switched from offense to defense. He's the anti-Rally Pig. This is like a giveaway. This was like a New York Mets bear. This was a giveaway at like the stadium. So I know he doesn't show quite as well. He doesn't sit up well either. But whatever. We'll figure that out eventually. We'll figure out a way. So this is, well, not necessarily bringing him out yet, but just introducing him to you all here. This is Rally Bear. All right. So the Mets, by the way, do not have a hit yet in this game. So this has not been a great start for McGill. It's also been not a great start for the Mets bats as well. And I would say there have been a couple of good plate appearances by the Mets. Brendan Nimmo had a good plate appearance. He was called. It was a horrible called strike three. The same call that McGill was not getting. Pete Alonso's at the plate now here for the Mets. It's going to be 1 ball, 1 strike in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pete did not swing at that. He's able to hold. I thought he went, but it's 2 balls, 1 strike to Pete Alonso. So you've got a guy, and yes, he's doing well so far, but it's still his major league debut. He's 2 innings in. Pete fouls it away. The Mets need to work some counts here, get his pitch count up. The first inning, Horton shut them down. Last inning, the Mets got a couple of base runners who were unable to cash in. I would like to see the Mets really have some good at-bats here. Pete fouls that one back. So far, Pete's doing a good job. And again, this is not rooting against Horton as a person. This is rooting against Horton as a Cubs fan, or more specifically just rooting for the Mets and how I just like to see them approach. Pete fouls another one away. Pete's kind of zoning in a little bit here. This is already a 6-pitch at bat for Pete. He's already fouled off 3 pitches. I would like to see Pete just really work. Let's bust up this no-hitter. And there's a liner up the middle. Yeah, I agree, Midnight, and I understand that's why some people don't want to see the ball strike challenge system come into play because of this uniqueness of umpire for umpire. But that's my biggest frustration is when one pitcher gets called a strike and the other pitcher does not get that same call. Because when you're out on defense, you're watching and you're saying, okay, he's not calling that pitch a strike, so I'm not gonna be able to do that. So all right, that is going to be flied up by Nimmo. Dansby Swanson makes the catch right around the pitcher's mound. Pete's going to stay at first with 1 out. All right, Swaggy Marky V at the plate right now. I'd like to see Vientos take a little more patient approach here this at-bat than he did the first at-bat. First pitch is a strike. So I think he was out on one or two. Yeah. And I don't necessarily think most umpires midnight are trying to make the strike zone about them. I just think what they see is a ball and a strike. It's just how they've always seen it, and they've never gotten correction or guidance on it. I'd like there to be this idea that there's a strike zone, but there's a range, and Vientos lines that one up the middle for the second Mets hit of the inning. So good job by Vientos there. Yeah, Mets put in a little bit of a rally together right now. It's the second time through the lineup. The adrenaline of Horton would be a little bit less. Yeah, Acuna. Oh, first pitch swing on that. I don't like that there. Just not the swing that he took. I don't mind him first pitch swing, but the swing he took he was swinging for a home run there. That's not the right swing you're looking for. Yeah, let's go, boys. Let's go. Yeah, and I think the only way that that's really going to get fixed is this challenge system. That's outside. Good take by Acuna there. So, again, Vientos' first plate appearance against Horton wasn't good. Neither was Acuna's. Vientos made the adjustment. Baseball is a huge game of adjustments, guys. You're constantly having to change here. In the dirt, ball gets away. Alonso is able to move up to third. Vientos able to move up to second. And now there's two runners in scoring position. Takes the double play away. Yeah, attack this guy. Send a message. That's a really hard take. I know that looks like a bad pitch, but that's a hard take because that pitch looked like it was going to be a low strike. So kudos to Acuna. Kudos to Acuna for that take there, too. Because now it's a 2-1 count. Oh, he swung at that one. That was bad swing there. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Acuna. That's in the dirt. Good take by Acuna. So he swung at one of them, but he made the adjustment. This whatever this Horton kid has as either a slider or a curveball, whatever it is, it's a good looking pitch. It's gotten multiple Mets to swing. So what is Acuna going to do? Is he going to get the fastball or the slider? Looking fastball. Oh, he went chasing. He chased the slider. Yeah, Acuna chased 2 of those 3 pitches. That's just being a young hitter. Yep. Yeah, Acuna looks silly on that swing, and 2 of the 3 strikes were swings on balls that were out of the strike zone by Acuna. All right, Brett Beatty is up. Mets' last chance to try to knock these runs home here this inning. First pitch is inside. As a lefty, that slider should not be quite as deadly of a pitch as it is to a righty. So we'll see if Beatty can make an adjustment on that. He struck out his first appearance, but if he can get into a good count, which he does 1-0, swings at that one. Yeah, the Mets, all the Mets players, not just Acuna and Beatty here. There's that slider is a tough pitch. One thing you could do to negate the move of a slider, it's a little risky because it makes you susceptible to the fastball, but you can move up. Oh, Beatty golfs it. That's deep. Right field. It's out of here. It's a 3-run homer for Brett, the Threat Beatty. And all of a sudden, Brett Beatty is catching on fire here. The Mets cut the deficit to 4-3. I think he threw him a slider that didn't quite slide enough. That was a very nice looking swing. And since he's been back, Brett Beatty looks like he's seeing the ball better. How's that for killer instinct there, Rels? Absolutely. Oh, man. Great job. Great job by all the Mets. So all these pitches that they've seen now and making adjustments as you have to do. There's still a lot more work to do, but that's like the first bit of life the Mets have had this entire game. All the Beatty haters, they all go quiet. All the Beatty haters going quiet. That's why you should never cheer against players on your own team, because then you can't celebrate when they do something right. Back-to-back home runs for Brett Beatty. Yeah, last night and tonight. It's 4-3. It's okay. Even if you're a Beatty hater, it's okay to celebrate when he hits a home run. This is Francisco Alvarez at the plate here. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. That's outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. But just overall this inning, the Mets have been approaching with a little more of a patient approach. Right? So if they can lay off that slider, everything else, they can hit this guy. It's not like he's an unhittable pitcher. It's not Greg Maddux. You know, he's a good young pitcher. So, yep, Mets got to attack this guy, Rels, and that's exactly what they did. So, all right, here we go. Here we go. Here's the 2-2 pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes. I'm guessing he's going slider here. Let's see if Alvarez. He pops it up, gets a bat on it, pops it up, and Nico Horner is going to retire the side. However, the Mets have gotten themselves back into this game with a huge, probably the biggest home run of the season for Brett Beatty so far. We will take that. Yeah. Listen, you'll hear me say this 1,000 times if you stay on this channel and don't get sick of me. Baseball is so stinking difficult. It's so difficult, right? And that common thing to hit a round ball with a round bat squarely is so hard to do. And then when you add into that, if you're not playing every single day, you have to remember, you pick pretty much any kid in the majors. They've been the starter on their team probably, and played starting and their ideal position every single day. I'm going to say one thing that I've noted too. Brett Beatty seems to hit better when he plays at third base. And this is not saying like he's not willing to try to play other positions. Who was that I was like, I refuse to play first base for the Red Sox, whoever that was. It's not a thing, but when players get to play where they're most comfortable in the field, you're going to find that they're going to hit better. And, everything that I've seen so far about Vientos is just tracking that Vientos has the opportunity to be a great designated hitter or a serviceable third baseman. Brett Beatty has the opportunity to be a great defensive third baseman, and I think his hitting prowess is still up in the air. And I think there's a lot to be said about Beatty has been hitting home runs when he's been playing third base because he just feels more comfortable there. And you can do analytics galore, but there's ultimately the eye test, right? The eye test trumps the analytics test in my mind sometimes. Not in all situations, but in a lot of situations. Yep, he has been proving himself. 2 base hits, absolutely. Getting on. And I'm going to say not just the 2 base hits that inning, but the previous inning getting 2 base runners on because it just allowed the Mets to see more pitches. You know, you have to remember there's no major league scouting report on the guy making his major league debut. And sometimes the best scouting report is go up and strike out against him the first time, and then you can make the adjustment the second time. So 90% mental, 10% physical, at least at the major league level. Oh, great diving step by Luis Angel Acuna. That is the 3rd great defensive play the Mets have made tonight. Great stop. So if you can get this lineup where you have the ultimate defense on the field, which I believe this is the best defensive infield the Mets can have right now. Not saying they can't make an upgrade at a certain point, but the best defensive third baseman we have is Brett Beatty. Obviously, Lindor at short. Obviously, Acuna at second. And Pete Alonso is the best defensive first baseman and the only first baseman we have on this roster. So this is the best defensive infield. If I'm a pitcher for the Mets, this is the infield I want behind me. And, you know, it's hard to argue that there's a better defensive outfield than what's out there tonight as well. And for sure, Beatty saved a run for the Mets. Francisco Alvarez is the catcher. Now, you could argue Torrens is slightly better defensively, but Alvarez is, if he's a step below, it's like a half step below. And Alvarez was able to back pick a runner at first base to get an out for McGill when he was in trouble. And, of course, Acuna just saved a base hit and a base runner there. And all of those things work together. Like, so if you can balance this and this defensive-minded starting lineup can also do well there, for sure. Yeah, Vientos is DH tonight. And I would not be surprised. This is an opportunity for Vientos to kind of take a stranglehold of the DH position. If you could have, there's another strikeout by Tyler McGill. If Vientos can become your everyday designated hitter, it actually expands this roster out because you don't have to carry a left-handed and a right-handed DH. This idea of the Mets having to play Winker and Marte as DH, why? Why not just get a great hitter and let him DH every day? Let Mark Vientos be your everyday DH. I think that's a much better place, and then you gain a new bench spot because right now you're wasting 2 roster spots on designated hitter, which really puts you in a bind in late innings. And I think that this is something that the Mets are going to eventually work their way out of. 1 ball, 1 strike to Michael Busch here. So again, Tyler McGill, I don't think he is, Rels. I really don't think he's too young to be a DH only. I think that's the old school way of looking at it. Fouled away. I would, there in 95% of games, I would rather have Vientos in there over Marte or Winker. I don't mind having one of Marte or Winker on this roster. And again, it's no shade on either of them individually. I just think that you're spending 2 roster spots on a DH. That's a 2-out single out to left field for Michael Busch. When you're looking to compete with the Dodgers, you're Mendoza's coming out. That's going to be it for Tyler McGill here. Not his greatest performance, but there is something to be said for him only giving up the 4 runs. This is more matchup based here, by the way. But yeah. I think just overall defense, most people would rate Beatty's defense higher than Vientos' Rels. And here's the hard part for Vientos is what he brings, what he's supposed to bring is pop and power to the lineup, and I certainly believe that he can. But pitchers have adjusted to him from last year, and he hasn't made. Yeah, that's fine. You can disagree, but yeah, you're perfectly fine disagreeing with that, but most of the reports that I've read have Beatty's defense over Vientos, and the whole thing is you can carry both on this roster, but if Beatty can truly hit the way that in the majors, if he's finally ready to start to break out and hit in the majors the way he's always been able to hit in the minors, and if Acuna can keep doing what he's doing, the Mets are going to have issues because Ronnie Mauricio is still working his way back. Mauricio is up to there. There are definite worlds where you're not going to be able to have Vientos, Beatty, Acuna, and Mauricio on the same roster. But there's also definitely worlds where the Mets trade one of those guys, or the Mets just keep one in waiting for the inevitable injuries that will happen in a baseball season. Well, Rels, if you want to trade Beatty, the most important thing you can see him do is hit home runs. That's the most important thing you can see Beatty do if you want to retrade Beatty. So. Oscar Brazaban is in. Absolutely. They're good problems to have. And that ball is popped up to Pete Alonso. He makes the catch in foul territory. So Brazaban is able to quickly get out of the inning. Unfortunately, no matter what the Mets do, that means McGill is not able to get the win. Brazaban does get out of the inning there. It is Taylor, Lindor, and Soto. We're gonna make the major league debut. We're on the major league debut for Rally Bear this inning. So we got the New York Mets. Rally Bear is going to make his major league debut against the pitcher making his major league debut. And here's the thing: as Mets fans, there's only going to be more and more of these positional problems that you're going to have. And the days when players who are one-dimensional will be on this roster are going to keep getting fewer and fewer and fewer. There's going to come a day, just like there's a day already here now where you're like, oh my goodness, why do we have Daniel Vogelback on this roster? Why do we have Darren Ruff on this roster? There's going to come a day where you're going to say, man, it's hard to believe there used to be a time when, Starling Marte was on this roster. This team is only going to get better. And as they continue to develop, and this is the thing, this is why you're not going to see, and we were talking earlier, excuse me, sorry. You're not going to see players being rushed up from the minors because there is zero need for it. You're going to develop. Occasionally, there's going to be opportunities. There's going to be opportunities both for players to come up for injuries or for pitchers to come up as spot starters. And there's just going to be very little need, and there's going to be lots of evaluation every offseason. And then there's also going to be opportunities for players to get traded at the trade deadline. But what you're still going to have to live with is there's always the inevitable. You trade a Pete Crow Armstrong and he turns into a superstar for another team. That's always the risk. And so the more the Mets can develop in-house, the less those things hurt. And again, this is nothing. Zero against Tyrone Taylor and Azokar and Jose Siri. But there is zero world where Pete Crow Armstrong would not make this Mets a better team if he were our starting center fielder. There's just zero world where that would be. He's hitting 268 on the season. He's the leadoff hitter for the Chicago Cubs. So, but that's just going to be, that's always the world of prospects and everything else. So, by the way, we are on the bottom of the fifth. I need to update my banner here. It is 4-3 Mets, or 4-3 Cubs over the Mets. Sorry about that. Rally Bear is here. Lindor is, sorry, Tyrone Taylor is at the plate here. It's Tyrone Taylor, Francisco Lindor, and Juan Soto due up for the Mets. Tyrone Taylor's nice patient at bat. Fouls another one off. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Yep. Well, I think it's a lot of fun. Another foul ball. Great at bat by Tyrone Taylor here. I think it's really fun as a team to have homegrown talent being brought up, having the budget to be able to re-sign them, having them want to re-sign. It's fouled back by Tyrone Taylor again. Beautiful at bat, guys. Absolutely beautiful. It's already an 8-pitch at bat for Tyrone Taylor. So regardless of the result, anytime you're getting 8, 9, 10 pitch at bats, you're doing a great job of wearing out the pitcher. A swing and a miss there by Tyrone Taylor. All right, Francisco Lindor is at the plate. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Mets are only down by 1. Lindor rips that first pitch foul. No balls, 1 strike to Francisco Lindor. They're interviewing the pitcher's family, which is, I wish they wouldn't do it while he's actually pitching. They should totally interview. Sorry, I love hearing interviews. Yeah, for sure, Darren. That was a good at bat by Tyrone Taylor. It's not always about the result. Sometimes it's the journey. Lindor fouls one off of his foot or his leg or something. Look, I'm all about interviewing the parents of a guy making his major league debut, but I will tell you this: if my son ever makes it to the majors, I'll say I'll do an interview with you, but not when he's playing. You know, he's out there pitching. Don't interview the family while he's pitching. Interview him after he's done pitching. Let him enjoy this moment. That's what I would tell him. I will do the interview, but not till he's out of the game, especially as a pitcher. Like, it's one thing if he's still in the game, but he's hitting and he's Lindor, nice rip out. 1 out base hit. Good job. Yep. Absolutely. You're right, Darren. Throw over to first. Lindor gets back. So Mets are only down by 1. Juan Soto at the plate. Rally Bear is making his major league debut. Rally Pig has been benched and turning into an anti-rally pig. First pitch to Soto is a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Am I a little bit faster than you? It's actually just a stream, but I'm plugged directly into the internet. That's also high. 2 balls, no strikes. The Mets really, again, this is nothing against Horton making his major league debut. Congrats to him, but I'm a Mets fan. I still want the Mets to win here. This is the time. It's the opportunity to break them. He bent last inning when Beatty hit the 3-run homer. There's a strike. Yeah, it feels like this is a good opportunity for Soto to do some damage. Right, there's the personal side of the game. Nothing against Horton. Congrats on your major league debut. But as the fan side of the game, let's go. Oh, he just missed that, guys. That was a good swing. He knows he missed it too. Yep. Horton's trying to get through this inning here for sure. Cubs are warming someone up in the bullpen. Drew Pomerantz. All right. Let's go here, Soto. 2-2 count. It's going to be a disengagement there. I think that's the second disengagement. Yeah, because he threw over already. So that gives Lindor a chance to be a little more aggressive here as well. What's the call there? So I have no idea. No. So Soto gets the swing and the miss there, and Lindor got the stolen base. So that was a really confusing play. Nothing to challenge. I mean, Soto clearly missed the ball. Is that going to be it for Horton here? Alonso home run? We'll see. We'll see. There are 2 outs. Runner on second. So Lindor steals second on that play. It wasn't nothing about the play itself was awkward, but the reactions to the play was really awkward. Like the umpire never called strike 3. So I don't know if he thought it was a foul or I have no idea. Like, all right, Pete Alonso at the plate, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th. Mets down by 1. Lindor on second. Good take by Pete. This is probably the last batter for Horton here, I would assume. Whether he gets Pete this inning. Yeah, because they've got a lefty. Mets have a lefty up next, and Nimmo. The last thing you want to do here as the Cubs is put Horton in a position to take the loss. You know, which again, as a Mets fan, I want the Mets to win. But as the coach in me is like, no, get him out. Get him out. Here's the 2-0 pitch, 3-0. I think that conversation the mound is try to get. I think they said try to get him to chase, but if not, it's okay if you walk him here. I think that's exactly what that conversation the mound was. Is look, you can try to get him, but you don't give him a fastball. Ooh, they actually did throw the fastball. I thought they were just going to say, just throw him four pitches in the dirt and hope he swings. 3 balls, 1 strike. Alonso lines it to third. And Birdie is able to retire. It was a good swing by Alonso there, but unfortunately, Birdie makes the catch. So, Mets still got some more work to do as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go back and look at that. I don't know if that might have been ball 4 for Pete. Probably. Hold on, I'll bring it up here. I'll show you guys. You guys can. It's a little hard to tell because. Here, let me share this so you guys can see. I'm gonna say that that's probably ball 4. I will say this: that's not the 3-1 pitch that you want to see right here. You can see how he's kind of casting and reaching at it, which that's fine if there's 2 strikes. Like if it's a 3-2 count, you're swinging, but you don't want that's not the swing you want to take on a 3-1 pitch. It means he was fooled, and I don't know if you guys can tell here as I'm like if you can see my mouse. I'll try to make my mouse big. It's hard to get anyway. But if you look at, it's not that the swing is bad. It's what the location of the ball is not the pitch that Pete was looking for here. And you can see, like he's still able to get his bat speed around, but look at how like low he is. That's not the type of pitch that you want to be swinging at on a 3-1. You know, and so I'll kind of show you how it looked.
But see, if I'm catching right there, if I'm a Maya, I'm not even trying to do that. Because
here's how it looked in real time. And I'm not saying this is easy, but Pete's looking here.
Alonso hits it to third. It's caught.
And as soon as that ball dipped, it was like Pete was looking fastball. He didn't get a fastball, and that's why he ends up lining it a little more weakly to third than otherwise. So again, not saying that I could have fixed that, but just ideally in that situation, you're looking at 3-1. That's your hitter's pitch, and you're looking for the exact pitch and swing on the level plane there. And if you miss it, you miss it because you got fooled. But anyway, that's what it is. Brazoban is still going to be pitching here for the Mets. Just appreciate everybody hanging out with us here as we go to the top of the 6th inning. So Tyler McGill was not particularly sharp today. However, he did minimize damage, and the defense also was a huge help today. So the Mets saved multiple outs and or runs on different plays. Brett Beatty knocked down for sure 2 RBI hit. They still scored 1 run on it, but he knocked it down to keep it to an infield hit. Francisco Alvarez had a beautiful back pick. And as usual, Luis Angel Acuna threw up another web gem as well himself. So some great defensive plays to help McGill get through. This is foul just out of play. Alonso's not able to jump in the stands and get it. Yes, the Devers. As I just alluded to that a little bit here. So I'll start with this. So nice swing and a miss by Brazoban there. Nico Horner fooled on that pitch. There's 1 out. I'll say both sides. From the Red Sox side, I understand wanting to have flexibility in positions. And from the Devers side, I understand him wanting to play the position he's most comfortable in. Okay. That being said, inside Dansby Swanson, who's already done some damage. But in my mind, as an old school baseball fan, and knowing that there are thousands of guys who would give anything to be in your position, I think the right thing to say as a player is whatever you think is going to help the team. Now, maybe there's more drama going on behind the scenes with Devers than what we know. Nice strike there. Brazoban looks sharp tonight, guys. He's looking good tonight. So I will. So maybe there's more than meets the eye, which is why I'm not going to make an ultimate judgment call on it. Oh, swing and a miss on the changeup by Brazoban. That's beautiful. Right. So that's where it is. Now, if for some reason Devers feels like they're trying to get the excuse to DFA him or something like that, and he feels like he's battling for his career, right? Think the idea of a caged lion being back into a corner, he's going to strike. So that's, I'm not defending Devers. I'm just saying there might be more than meets the eye to the situation than what the media is going to let on. But yeah, from a surface level, as someone who has failed Major League Baseball dreams, as many kids who wish they could be there, I'd be like, absolutely, like, go put me wherever you want me. I'll learn. I'll work my tail off to learn any position. However, we also live in a 2025 world where lots of these players are used to demanding and getting what they want. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Amaya. Foul back. So I'm not going to say I'm defending Devers because I think that's your responsibility as the employee of the team. You're an employee. Maya fouls that one off too. Remains no balls, 2 strikes. But the other side, it's a risky strategy for him too. He might be feeling like they're trying to force me out, but another foul back. Brazoban's trying to figure out how to put him away. He's got some pitches to waste here. I'd like to see him go down in the dirt. Because Amaya seems to be on these pitches here. But your risk is if you're not willing to shift positions, then you might just as easily get known as the guy who can't help his team or isn't willing to help his team. There's the pitch, the low pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The 1-2 pitch. He's going to pop it up. And that is it. I'm out, and that retires the side. Right. So, Jonathan, this is the problem, is there is some leverage here. Devers has some leverage. Now, one thing I would say for sure that I would not counsel any player at any level to do is he should not have aired any of his grievances to the media. Now, again, that might be a strategy. That might be something that his agent told him to do or something like that. For what it's worth, like, I'm not saying but what happens in the clubhouse needs to stay in the clubhouse is kind of my take on it in a general sense. And I coach my son to say, it doesn't matter where they put you, you run out there. I don't care if they tell you to go out and play catcher and you've never played catcher before and you got to catch with a righty glove because my son's a lefty. Like, you go out and play catcher. Like, if that's where they tell you and that's the spot that's open, you play it. Because that's just my take on old school baseball is there's other guys in the dugout that want to play. I saw it today in the team. Some kid was complaining that he was being put out in right field, and my son's like, I'll go. Like, no. Yep, I agree, Midnight. That's my bigger issue is don't air the dirty laundry in public. Like, you might be in a spat with your team. Rels, and I agree with that too, but sometimes you don't have the option. Sometimes you've got a better option and you can form a better configuration. And can I be honest with you guys? 90% of these guys have played pretty much every position at some time in their careers. They just got slotted into a particular position at a particular point in time because that was the primary need of the team. And then they excelled in that position. So then they moved up and they continued to play that position. Okay. So there's a little something to be said here, that, like, even most of these pitchers, I'm not saying that you should expect a pitcher to play a position, but the point is, like, pretty much every pitcher who's pitching in the major leagues has played infield positions. Everybody's played the outfield at some time or another. And I think there's a lot of pride sometimes if it's on the line with that. So I'm not saying I don't sympathize with Devers. I understand where he's coming from. I do think you shouldn't air it. But again, there's probably some sort of negotiation strategy, or he just made a mistake, whatever, on airing that. I heard he had to sit down with the front office. Oh, Nimmo first pitch swinging here. Don't like that. John Birdie is not able to make the catch. Nimmo got bailed out there. That was a bad first pitch swing there for Nimmo. Nimmo has been patient overall. I mean, it was a tough play, but Birdie would tell you should have caught this one for sure. He stumbled a little bit. Yeah, that's one of those plays. It's because he's not familiar with Citi Field. He didn't make the catch. So Nimmo got bailed out. Not the first time the Mets have gotten bailed out. The Mets got bailed out on a catcher's interference. Yeah, that's true too, Rels. It makes for a good discussion. And Nimmo does take advantage of the drop foul ball, and he gets the base hit here. Yeah, I think here's the better question, Rels. You don't put David Wright at second base if there's not a reason to, but do you put A-Rod at third base? Right? Do you put A-Rod at third base, or do you platoon Derek Jeter and A-Rod at shortstop? The obvious answer is you say, yes, of course. Of course you move A-Rod from his natural position to third base. Because A-Rod at third base is still better than 99% of third basemen you can get. And if you're the Yankees in that moment, he's better than 100% of third baseman that you can do. So you have to look at it more at that way, which is, again, team over self. And ultimately, the reason that you have players that become well-loved is because they're willing to play anywhere. And they're willing to sacrifice their selfishness for what will help the team. But I get how the philosophy is just different in 2025. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Swaggy Marquee. It's a good discussion. And I think it's a valid discussion. In a vacuum, my counsel to a player would be say, look, I'm not comfortable in that spot, but if that's where the team needs me, I will do my absolute best. That's what I would. So ball to Vientos, and Nimmo steals a base, guys. I thought that was going to be strike 3 on Vientos. So, right. So I haven't followed the Devers too much, but there's an injury on the Red Sox here. So you've got this idea of Vientos fouls this one back. Vientos trying to battle. He got behind. He got behind 0-2. He's worked the count back to even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. He goes down swinging here. And I, just for like the overall, I'm not worried about Vientos. I know if Beatty heats up, then everybody's going to be like, we need to send Vientos down because that's what Mets fans do. The other thing that Devers needs to consider is that he's potentially costing himself money in future contracts and in endorsements as well. Like that's something that Devers needs to calculate because if it gets known, it's hard enough to get a new contract. Acuna hits a little soft chopper to second, but Nimmo had to hold up in case he caught it. And Acuna's thrown out at first. So Beatty's coming up here with 2 outs. Beatty has the big hit for the Mets here today so far. 3-run homer. I know, Rels, but Mets fans are fickle because they're not patient. Oof, that's that same pitch. That first pitch strike to Beatty here was the same pitch he was not calling for McGill. Vientos fouls that one back. That was a good rip. He was on that one. No balls, 2 strikes to Beatty here. Showing the replay of the home run. That was a really sweet-looking swing by Beatty there, too. Head down, stayed on it. Oh, yeah, Rels. Fans are nuts. Fans are nuts. I don't disagree. All right, here's the 0-2 pitch to Beatty. Beatty lines that out to left field. Oh, but Suzuki is right there. That was a good shot. Beatty is seeing the ball well right now. That was a good ride. If that had fallen in, that was going to score. Nimmo would have scored easily on that. Nimmo is definitely seeing the ball well right now, guys. And that's something to be super encouraged about. We're going to the top of the 7th inning. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the stream, what we love to do during the 7th inning of whoever the Mets are playing is we like to raid some smaller creators. But I haven't yet found somebody. So hold on. I got to do that really quick. So we're kind of going to try to find a Cubs streamer today if we can. Or a Mets streamer that we have not rated or rated in a while. A lot of our regulars are on. The Pure Adrenaline Sports, they're on. They're usually doing. Travis Berg, a good friend of the channel, he's streaming right now. All of our Spanish channels are streaming. Is there somebody? Can we dig? Got lots of people who are streaming Gamecast and stuff. Oh, here's a guy. I guess he's also a Spanish streamer. That's a possibility. Oh, here's somebody. All right, hold on. I think we got someone here. I don't think this is someone we've rated before. I think this one is new. No, he's streaming on 2 different channels. I'll go to the one that has a slightly larger subscriber base. Again, lots of Spanish streamers here for sure. I'm just trying to see. That says no more results. All right, we got somebody new. Let me make sure they're not on subscriber only mode. All right, we've got, yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our raid. Yeah, it's on Roku. I will not be covering tomorrow. I don't have Roku. I got to work tomorrow too. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and raid a smaller creator over here. So I encourage you, be positive. Hit the like if you like their vibe. You can hit the subscribe as well. They only have 1 person watching. Let's go flood their stream. If you like their vibe, you can also subscribe. It's Mets 2128. We're going to go over. We are going to get this raid on. Share some love. Be positive. Be encouraging. Encourage another small streamer. This is a Met streamer. There's the link is in the chat. We'll throw it on the screen for you as well. Even if you're watching on a replay, go click through, give them some love. Let's rate them. There you go, Jonathan. Why do people always be like sarcastic when like one or two people come and raid them? I don't understand. Like, we're just sharing the love. So, got to start somewhere. Well, in all fairness, dude, there was only no people watching your stream before you showed up. So, in all fairness, we just infinitely increased your stream. So, anyway, we appreciate small creators, even if they don't appreciate us. And it's only going to grow as time goes by. So, anyway, there's the link in the chat. Go show them some love. Show them some love as we're hanging out here. Oh, angry rants on Wardy's call-in shows. That's funny. Well, sounds good. I don't have time to follow everyone in the Mets community. I don't really listen to too many of the call-in shows. I do follow. Wardy's a great place to get updates on Mets stuff when I'm like busy and working and stuff. So Wardy's been like my favorite Mets streamer that I've found. There you go. Awesome, Darren. Midnight, Jonathan. You guys rule. Doesn't matter whether or not they appreciate. We're just having fun. We're trying to bless other people. We're trying to make it go, help out. So he's got 2 streams running. I just picked the one that had more because I figured he's closer to getting monetized on that channel. So you guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Let's go Mets, baby. All right. Genesis Cabrera is pitching now for the Mets this inning. By the way, while our raid was going on, Oscar Brazaban was able to retire the first batter, which was John Birdie on a ground out. And he came out. Genesis Cabrera is now in with Pete Crow Armstrong. So that's what's going on in the game. Yeah. Yeah, D, I appreciate you being in here, but I really can't read your name out loud for YouTube purposes. So I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're cheering for the Mets. But if you want me to say your name, you're gonna have to change the YouTube name for me to call you out. Nothing personal, man. Just gotta. We're family friendly here. Crow Armstrong flies out center field. Kyle Tucker at the plate. Yeah. Sorry, D. I want you to be here. But if you could figure out a different version of your name that is not that, if you want me to say your name. Really do. I appreciate you as a person, but we're navigating Tucker drives this one pretty deep. Tyrone Taylor's going to be able to get to the warning track and do it. That was a good job by Genesis Cabrera. So, all right. Well, that was a nice, easy inning for the Mets. We are headed to the bottom of the 7th. It is go time for the Mets. We need. I want to get this lead here soon. Let's get the lead here in the 7th. This is the better way to do it. So that way we're not trying to come back here and score runs in the 8th. Still 4-3. Still 4-3, Justin. Huascar Brazaban got the first out of the sixth, and then Genesis Cabrera came in, got PCA and Kyle Tucker out. So that was really good. I'm going to leave the door open for having multiple. I don't know where anything is in my office here right now. It's such a mess. I'm leaving the door open for there to be multiple rock solid relief performances. This is my pet rock that I made way back in like kindergarten or first grade or something like that. But we are for sure 100% at least giving this to Huascar Brazaban. All right. Genesis Cabrera, if he comes back out, or if Edwin Diaz can come in with a shutdown inning, there's also a chance on that as well. But for sure, because Brazaban came in with a runner on, bailed McGill out, and he had 1 2/3 scoreless inning with 2 strikeouts. His ERA for the season, again, ERA for relief pitchers isn't quite as much, quite as big of a deal because it can be so much. But if you see a reliever with a low ERA, that's always something to take note of. His ERA for the season for Brazaban is down all the way to 1.13. And so, you'll typically see low ERAs for some of the top closers in the league. But the problem is when you only pitch 1 inning, if you give up 2 runs and that's it, your ERA gets destroyed. So seeing a high ERA for a reliever is not always a bad sign, but seeing a low ERA for a reliever is almost always a good sign. Almost always, right? There is a potential they could have a low ERA, but they give up every inherited runner that they come in for. And that's why it can be deceiving. But most of the time, if you're doing that, you're also giving up runs for the runners that you gave up. So regardless, today, Brazaban was great. All right, Francisco Alvarez is leading off. Had your fingers crossed for that inning? Well, Alvarez, that's not a great swing. Daniel Palencia. He's got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that Alvarez tried to hit out of the park. Same exact pitch, 101. Alvarez is chasing these pitches. It should be 2-0 on Alvarez. He's way too hyped up here. Oh, 2 to Alvarez. He's been completely overpowered this at bat. I'm expecting they're either going to go that high fastball or drop something in the dirt. They went fastball again, 101 miles an hour. This Palencia kid, man, that's some fire. That is some absolute fire. 3 pitches, 100 miles an hour plus. They're going to go again. They're going to go high again. Yep. Francisco Alvarez just swung at 3 fastballs that were out of the strike zone that were 100 miles an hour plus. They were like after the first one, he was too amped up for that at bat. That was a really poor plate appearance there by Alvarez. I know he wants to do damage there, but he could have walked on 4 pitches. Tyrone Taylor goes up. He's going to take the first pitch for a strike, still 100 miles an hour. He's 5 pitches in. Every pitch has been 100 miles an hour plus. That's the first one that was actually in the strike zone. All right. So it's 0-1 to Tyrone Taylor. This kid, though, has closer stuff. I'm impressed for this Palencia kid. I'm not impressed with Alvarez's at bat. That's a ball way outside in the dirt, gets past the catcher. Doesn't matter because no one's on. That's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think Tyrone Taylor is taking a nice, good, patient approach. And again, this is why baseball is a team sport, too. Alvarez was way outmatched and swinging at pitches out of the strike zone. So Tyrone Taylor's – because Alvarez doesn't get to face this guy twice. He's in for an inning max, right? But Tyrone Taylor can make the adjustment and say, look, I'm not going to swing at that high stuff. Tyrone Taylor gets jammed, but it's going to fall in. That's that high fastball. He made the adjustment and was able to loop it in. So there is a 1-out base hit for Tyrone Taylor. There's a throw over to first. Tyrone Taylor is definitely a threat to steal here. We're bringing out Rally Bear. We're bringing out the brand new, making his major league debut today, Rally Bear. $100-mile-an-hour fastball. Lindor takes first strike. No balls, 1 strike. Since Alvarez, Tyrone Taylor, and Francisco Lindor taking a much more patient approach here. That's in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. Another 100-mile-an-hour pitch. I mean, almost every pitch here. It's the Rally Bear. This is the Rally Bear. He's an actual Mets bear. He's actually officially branded. This was a giveaway. He's actually available on the eBay store, so if you don't like him, you can buy him. I'm selling the Rally Bear, yes. Tyrone Taylor gets back. That's the second throw over, so there's 2 disengagements already. Now, if he succeeds, his price is going to go up on eBay, and if he fails, then the price is going to go down until someone buys him. So, yes, the anti-rally pig worked today, Jonathan. We brought out anti-rally pig, and right as soon as we did that, that's when Francisco Alvarez backpicked the guy. It was 3 straight outs. We only brought him out once, but yeah, midnight. 1-2 pitches fouled away. Tyrone Taylor was running. That is definitely an upgrade that I want to do. My problem right now is I'm using StreamYard because I cannot figure out how to get OBS Studios. My understanding is OBS Studios has a lot more flexibility. What I really need to do is just take a day and work on all of this. Fouled away by Lindor again. I really have liked Lindor's approach this at bat. So, yeah, no, it's something. So the banners that I'm using right now, that's the easy thing that I know how to do. But yeah, I want to figure out how to do more. $8 on eBay. Yeah, it might be my listing. I probably have to charge for more because I take offers. Is that $8 free shipping, or is that $8 plus shipping? Hold on. You might have found my listing. I'll tell you because I'll see if I can. I usually find the bottom price and I match it, then add shipping so that way I have room to negotiate down. $6 plus shipping. Let me see which one's my listing. But I'm telling you, it's not just any Rally Bear. It's this Rally Bear. This Rally Bear. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Lindor here. 1 out. 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. Is going for the high fastball here. And it's outside. Great at bat by Lindor. That was just a great, patient at bat. Mets have runners on first and second with 1 out. Juan Gon Soto at the plate. Let's see, which one am I? I'll tell you which one am I. Because I priced mine off of another one that was active. But if you buy this one, I'll autograph. I'm the $8 plus shipping. That's me. The $8 plus shipping is me. If you hate Rally Bear and want to buy them, this is Rally Bear. Like I literally pulled them out of my eBay stockpile for the game. So that's my link for the Rally Bear, guys. So I'm the 8 plus shipping. Yep, that's me. But the price is going up. If the Mets score this inning, I'm going to move them up $1. It's like the stock market. First pitch to Soto is high and outside. So Palencia, he got Alvarez out, but only because Alvarez swung at 3 balls. That's the only reason he got Alvarez out. He pitches hard, but his control is wild. But lots of talent here. That's in the dirt. All of his fastballs high have been missed, and all of his low pitches have missed. He's only pitched 1 or 2 true strikes down the middle. This one was actually a giveaway at an actual Mets game. Oh wow, that was a rough call. 107 items from the dollar store. This is a genuine giveaway. We could even like disconnect his head so it's a bobblehead for you. That's high and outside. The Mets who have been laying off that high pitch have been really, really wise. Three balls, 1 strike on Juan Soto, 1 out here. Bottom of the 7th. Soto fouls it away. It's going to be 3 balls, 2 strikes. Tyrone Taylor on second, Francisco Lindor on first. 1 out. Mets are down by 1. This is the best rally the Mets have had since the 4th inning when they had the 3-run homer by Nimmo. And Soto goes down swinging. Foul tip, but caught into the glove. So it's going to come down to Pete Alonso. Beatty's home run was with 2 outs. You're good. I understand now in the context midnight. I know you're not trashing the eBay store. I would never shop the dollar store for 10 items, let alone 107. First pitch swing by. All right. Well, Rally Bear fails just as much as Rally Pig here. I don't like that first pitch swing by Pete there. You got a kid who's overthrowing, even though the first pitch was a strike here. It was still a high 100-mile-an-hour fastball with a guy who's been wild. I think that was not the right move. Just my opinion. Pete's, I'm not going to say struggling, right? Not going to say Pete Alonso is struggling. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, I'm not going to say Pete Alonso is struggling, but he's not been seeing the ball well tonight. So, all right, well, I wanted to take the lead that inning. We did not take the lead at that inning, so we've got some more work to do. Going to the top of the 8th inning. I'm assuming Genesis Cabrera is coming out to pitch again for the Mets. Looking more men on base than the military. But it's definitely something this team's going to have to work through. I would imagine, though, is there a correlation that better teams will leave more runners on base? I would imagine that there's probably some sort of upward curve, right? Because do better baseball teams leave more runners on base? We're going for the pick 6 here, midnight. You better believe it. I think that's like an interesting. I don't have time to read through all this. This would make a really interesting video. Um, I've not read through all this. I'm not saying it's good, but some people have done some deep dives. Yeah. So midnight, my gut says as a fan, it's frustrating, right? So as a football fan, you hate seeing your team get to the red zone and not scoring touchdowns. But if you consistently are getting in the red zone, it's probably a good, better team, right? So this is a article, some not an article, whatever, some research that someone did. I don't know if it's good or not, but I think it would make a really interesting video. So, right, exactly. It's better than the whole team not having bats. Of course, it's always going to be frustrating, but if it doesn't happen, it's like striking out with the bases loaded. Like, yeah, you don't want it to happen, but I'd still rather have the bases loaded than not, right? I'd rather the Mets leave the bases. You're going to make 3 outs no matter what, and a lot of times you're going to make the 3rd out with at least 1 runner on base. So, all right. Again, this is from the article that I just posted here. This Reddit thing. Again, I haven't vetted it. You can do your own research, but this was his conclusion. I'm going to put it in quotes. This was his conclusion after his research. He says, so I guess what I'm getting at is quit complaining about blown scoring chances because it's better to have them than not, and I can prove it with that. So if you want to dig more, there's a whole Reddit thread that you can dig into. And my gut says that's one of those things that seems counterintuitive, but yeah, because the bad teams are not getting runners on base. They're getting multiple runners on base, not getting runners in scoring position. By the way, it is Min Panic Max Kranick pitching for the Mets now. Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis, but it's like it is. There's counterintuitive fandom. The other side of it is too. If you think of runners in scoring position, which I'm going to just abbreviate as RISP, is equals red zone for football, right? And so if you think of that, what happens to red zone defense equals tighter, better defense, right? Especially when you're facing good teams. So if I'm a pitcher, right, and I know, like, let's say I'm a top pitcher, I don't mind giving up a leadoff single. Well, derails, I, I, I don't know, but I would challenge you to actually do the research. And that's why I'm posting this article. That's why I posted this article on Reddit, so you can start digging, because maybe it's actually not true, right? So if you take, and I'm not saying it's a 1-for-1 comparison, but my Dolphins do not get many red zone chances. Of course, the media, but okay, never trust the media, Rels. The media is only out there to create stories. So if the Dolphins, it's better to go. So it's better to go 2 for 5 in the red zone than 1-for-1 in a single game. I'm typing this up a little bit, just kind of some of my thoughts. And is it frustrating as a fan when your team gets to the red zone and doesn't score? Of course it is. But on the other hand, if you're a fan of a bad team that doesn't even sniff the red zone on a regular basis, which is like the Dolphins, that's probably more of a problem than getting there and not converting. So, like I said, it's probably worth a deep dive. This is Justin Turner at the plate. He's going to pop out to Pete Alonso at first base. So there's a runner on first now, 2 outs. Min Panic, Max Kranick pitching. I don't even know where to look for. I'm trying to find a 2025 stat. There's a 2-out base hit for Nico Horner. The Mets are not the worst in baseball. Since we're doing a little bit of a research here, let me show you guys. I just found a website that is tracking this. Left on base. It's not runners in scoring position. It's just runners left on base. The Mets are not the worst team in baseball at runners left on base. So this is just runners left on base per game. So the best team in baseball at not leaving runners on base right now is the Los Angeles Angels, one of the teams playing the worst in baseball. So there doesn't seem to be any true correlation to runners left on base and winning. There's good teams throughout this list. The Cubs and the Mets are absolutely equal. They're both leaving on 15.4 runners. I guess that's per game. I don't know. It just says left on base per game. 15 per game. That number seems high, doesn't it? Even for the Mets, like 16 a game for St. Louis. That's these numbers can't be true. Oh, that's batters. Hold on. That's batters. Let's go team left on base per game. This is
what happens today.
Come on, stop with this autoplay stuff. That's per batter. Okay, this is per inning. So there's different stats that you can look at here. So the Mets, as a team, are leaving 7 runners on base per game as a team. But again, the Los Angeles Angels are the best in baseball, second best in baseball. Baltimore Orioles, third best, Texas Rangers. So this is a 3-1 pitch to Swanson. And there's a walk. Bases are loaded. Min Panic. Max Kranick is going for Max Panic. Min Kranick. Jeremy Hefner is coming out here. Amaya's coming to the plate. He does have a 247 average, probably the most ideal hitter to face in this situation. That's got to figure out how to buckle down here. So there's different stats, but you can see just being the best. So if I turn this around, here are the – oh, that's too much. My goodness. The 3 best in baseball at not leaving runners on base are the Los Angeles Angels, Baltimore Orioles, Texas Rangers, which would lead me to believe that it's not really that much about it. And the Mets are averaging 7, but I mean the league average is like, or the median at least, is like 6.89, 6.9. So the Mets are just about average in baseball. And in fact, ball's going to get through the hole. 2 runs are going to score. It's going to be 6-3. Kranick is not able to nail it down. 6-3 Cubs here in the top of the 8th. Yeah, he was sitting. He was sitting on a strike that first pitch. That was not a good pitch by Kranick there. Runners on first and second now for the Cubs. 2 outs. Top of the eighth. Birdie at the plate here. Grounder to Alonso. He's going to actually toss it to Lindor. It's an easier play for him. So Kranick gets the out, but unfortunately, the Cubs are able to push 2 more across the plate. So it's time for the Mets bats to wake up. Due up for the Mets this inning will be Swimo, Brandon Nimmo, Swaggy, Marky V, Mark Vientos, and Luis Angel. My name's not Ronald Acuna Jr. We'll see. I'm assuming the Cubs are going to do a pitching change here, so the Mets are going to get the look at somebody else other than Palencia. I think had they been a lot more patient with Palencia, that Alvarez at bat really hurt last inning because he swung at 3 pitches out of the strike zone. And the Mets could have theoretically had bases loaded with nobody out. And who knows how the rest of that inning goes in that scenario. So here's another one. Runners left in scoring position per game again. The Mets are just about, I don't know how to close this stuff. Stop all your autoplay stuff. Yeah, the Mets are not, they're right around average. They're at 3.67. Median is like 3.55 to 3.62. So yeah, if you want to talk about bad at leaving runners in scoring position, the Toronto Blue Jays are leaving like over 4 per game. So are the Cubs. So are the Red Sox. And the best at not leaving runners in scoring position, again, the Los Angeles Angels, because they're not getting runners in scoring position. Yeah. Do you have a link, or I'm just trying to. I'm digging in here a little bit, and there's probably. But yeah, I mean, the point is, you're always going to be more critical of your own team than other teams, and there's only one team that's the worst in the league, and it's not the Mets in those things. It is frustrating. Don't get me wrong. It is frustrating, and they do need to get better at it, but I would definitely call it the red zone effect, right? It's the red zone effect. Pitchers bear down. Sounds good. I'll do another Google. Pitchers bear down. First pitch is a ball to Nimmo. We got a new pitcher in. It is Merriweather is in for the Cubs here. Nimmo takes first pitch for a ball. Takes second pitch for a strike. Nimmo looking like he's going up with going with this patient approach. Nimmo needs to channel his former leadoff batter self here and just try to find a way to get on base. Mets are looking for base runners. Who is the Cubs closer? Anybody know that offhand? Nimmo's going to pop this up down the left field line. It's going to get out of play. Suzuki crashes into the tarp, but he looks to be okay. Just kind of looking ahead to the ninth inning here. I'm going to clear off the screen for now because we're done with that research. So Nimmo stays alive. Here's the 1-2 pitch again. Fouls another one off. Ryan Presley. All right, sounds good. Let me do a little thank you for that. He's not a strikeout pitcher. Wow. At least not this season. Let me just check a little. Nimmo goes down on the slider. It's going to be the first out. He's got 4 saves on the season, so it looks like he's not always the closer. He did pitch in last night's game. Vientos takes strike 1. All right, 6-3 Cubs. So Nimmo went up, clearly not swinging at the first pitch. Vientos went up, clearly not swinging at the first pitch. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Vientos. Fists it off, and it's going to fall in for a 1-out base hit out into center field. That's 2 hits on the night for Vientos. Acuna up there intentionally taking the first pitch. So it's very interesting where sometimes some of these innings, the Cubs batters were going after the first pitch of the Mets. Poor man's rally pick. Well, Jonathan, I'll let you make the calls for the rest of the game. I'll let you make the call. You say it at any point in time, we'll bring it in. Yeah. It should be noted, and this is not negative on Alonso, but Alonso's hot start's not going to stay forever. Alonso's not a 350 hitter. Good take by Acuna there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Acuna. Kind of like the Mets of the poor man's Yankees. You want called strike 3 to Acuna. Hey, over the long haul, yes, but the Mets need to earn it. Look, I don't declare Mets kings of New York until they can prove it, and not just in one season. They got to prove it for multiple seasons, in my mind. All right. So you want Rally Pig for Beatty's at bat? All right. Rally Pig has been recalled from the minor leagues. First pitch in. They finally don't call that inside pitch as strike on Beatty. Ben Washington, are you calling for Billy Wagner and Josh Beckett? When I hear those names, that's where I go to. Billy Wagner, Josh Beckett. There's 2-0. One of the things I've noticed with Beatty, T-Rels, no pride. Yeah. 2-0 on Beatty. Swing and a miss by Beatty there. 2 balls, 1 strike. I've noticed Beatty gets squeezed a lot on the first pitch strike. There's a lot of borderline pitches that seem to get called against Beatty, and then he tends to be like chasing from behind the rest of the at-bat. Now, Beatty has proven he can hit with 2 strikes sometimes. His home run today was on 2 strikes. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Takes that inside, 3-1. Again, the Mets are taking a very measured approach to Merriweather this inning. They are taking first pitches. Every batter's taking the first pitch. Yep. Well, or just move the lineup. Beatty drives it deep. Left field. It's gone! Rally Pig comes through. Thank you, Jonathan. It's a 2-run homer for Brett Beatty. Darren, you called it. Darren called it. Jonathan, you got the Rally Pig. D-Rails, smack talking the Mets, smack talking Beatty. He shows up. The Mets get those 2 runs back. That was an opposite field drive, too, guys. My goodness, what great teamwork. What great teamwork here. So it is back to 6-5. Lindor and Soto are guaranteed at bats in the game now, too, which is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. There's some life. Alvarez grounds this one to short. The side is going to be retired. But Rally Pig, Jonathan with the call out of nowhere. Look at that. Look at that call. Jonathan specified the at-bat. Darren says maybe he gets it. But I think it's mostly D-Rail smack-talking Brett Beatty all the time. Look, you want to talk about no pride or no heart, don't say that about Brett Beatty. He has been the hero in the game today. Now, the Mets still are going to need more. The Mets are still going to need more, but I actually think this team shows a tremendous amount of heart overall. Namely, there's a ton of these games that the Mets have won this year that I think they would have lost in the early part of last season. So, yes, we can have our frustrations with the team, but how beautiful is it to have a guy hitting in the 7-hole who can hit 2 home runs in the same game? So, Rally Pig and anti-Rally Pig. He's the Shohei Ohtani of mascots today. Show Rally Pig Tani. Sometimes you just show Rally Pig Tani comes through. That was a great call by Jonathan, by the way. Great call by Jonathan. Well, at least the Mets are keeping this game interesting. I will let you know as soon as we know who's pitching for the Mets here. It is going to be Sir Edwin Diaz. Sir Edwin Diaz is coming in. Oh, yes, Rally Pig. I believe he's now 1 for 4. I believe we had him 0 for 2, but I think he had 3 bad innings. But that's all, 1 for 4 with 2 runs. There's Rally Pig. So we're going to do that. We've got Edwin Diaz coming out, so you get my beautiful trumpet solo here. First pitch to Pete Crow Armstrong is a swinging strike. Yeah. No, we had nobody out for Beatty's first home run. I was the mascot. That was it. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, so we had no mascot out for Beatty's first home run. It kind of came out of nowhere. I'd kind of almost given up on the inning. As much as I like Brett Beatty, I just was kind of not feeling it. And Rally Pig was in a slump, and yeah. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. This is Pete Crow Armstrong at the plate, by the way. Ball's, I guess, just a little bit outside. It's probably a ball. Mets won the call, of course. This is popped up by PCA out to right field. So it has to go a pretty long way for it, but he gets under it, makes the catch. That's going to be 1 out. Okay, so Tyrone Taylor is due up for the Mets. However, the Mets have Jeff McNeil and Starling Marte on the bench as legit pinch hit options, a righty and a lefty. Hodge, a righty, is warming up for the Cubs, who's a righty. So it looks like Presley's not available since he pitched last night. Kyle Tucker flies this one. That's short right field. Acuna is under it, and he makes the play. There's 2 quick outs for the Mets here. So I think if I am the Mets, since you got McNeil the lefty, I think you got to lead off Jeff McNeil. And then if you make it, so we're going, this is the 9th. Sorry, my banner might be off. No, we're right. Top of the 9th. We are top of the 9th. So I would probably, this is Craig's pick, which means nothing. I don't know if it should also be noted, they just mentioned this stat. Every home run the Mets have hit in this series so far has been by lefties, including McNeil last night. And of course, you have Lindor and Soto coming up after him, and Pete. Well, the Mets are down 1, so the Mets will need to hit in the bottom of the 9th. So I think you go McNeil. McNeil lead off, followed by Lindor and Soto. That's what I would want to do here. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, 1-2-3 inning. We said we could give Coe rock solid relief performances, and Edwin Diaz absolutely deserves it. The crowd is hyped. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. The Mets are down by 1. We need 1 run to tie, 2 to win. 1 to tie, 2 to win. Yeah, no, you're all good tonight. You're all good. So I don't know if Mendoza will do it, but this is my pick. I want McNeil leading off this inning. McNeil can hit a home run. McNeil can also get on base, depending on, however the at-bat goes, with righty coming in for the Cubs. At least supposedly a righty coming in. We'll see. But that's where I want to go. I want McNeil leading off. Yeah, I mean, look, there's an argument to be made for Tyrone Taylor. I just think you're more likely to get a home run off of McNeil than Tyrone Taylor. That's, Tyrone Taylor hits 1 home run a month. And is today the day? It's possible, but Jeff McNeil hits more than 1 home run a month. And he hit one yesterday. Like, I'd like to give him a shot here. But we'll see. Neither you nor I, Darren, are in charge of this decision. So this will be Mendoza. We'll see what it. Okay. All right. So we do have the pitching change. It is official. Porter Hodge. Okay. Let's look up Porter Hodge here. I'm going to learn a little bit because I know nothing about the Cubs bullpen. Porter Hodge. I'll share the page with you guys too, so you guys can learn a little bit more about the reliever. So this is Porter Hodge. 2025, he's 2-0 with a 4.5 ERA. He has 1 save in 17 games, 16 innings pitched, 1.38 WHIP with 16 strikeouts in 17 innings. So K per 9, just under 1. Let's look at his game logs here from the last couple of games. He gave up no runs on May 6th. He gave up an unearned run on May 1st. Yeah, he's been pretty solid. But he did have an absolute blow-up game against the Diamondbacks. Check this one out here. He gave up 6 runs in 4 hits in 2/3 of an inning. So he's been really solid in his last 7 performances. Hasn't given up an earned run, but he has given up the big inning before. So we'll see. Jeff McNeil is coming in. So the Mets do go to the pinch hitter here. McNeil fouls that one back. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. So Carlos Mendoza, listen to me. We'll find out shortly if that was a good decision or not. By the way, as we come to the end of the game here, if you want to help support this channel, the best way that you can do that right now, if you want to, is to join the Patreon. You're going to get advanced access to some of the videos that we post on YouTube and get some other perks like getting your name shouted out in some of these videos. There is the link. It's also pinned in the comments, available in the chat. So, again, if you're not in a position to do that, don't worry about it. Whoa, that's way high and out there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yep, let's hit him. Let's hit him good, midnight. So a special thank you to the first 2 patrons on this channel, Byford the Hobbit and Darren. Appreciate you too for supporting this small channel. If you're in a position that you want to do that and help it out, that's great. If not, no harm, no foul. I never hold anything against anybody who can't, because I understand that. But for those of you who can and want to, I would appreciate it so much, and so thankful for those of you who already are. Thank you to my patrons. McNeil rips this one down the right field line. That's going to be down for extra bases. Oh, it's foul. Oh, I thought that was going to be extra bases. Oh, man, he was on it. How close was that? Oh, 8 inches, guys. Oh, that was – I thought for sure the way – all right, that's all right, McNeil. Let's bring that torpedo back to life. We need some torpedo power for McNeil. Yep, take a breath. Relax. You got this, McNeil. It's still a 2-2 count. Already 6 pitches into this at-bat. Fouls another one away. Good job, McNeil. That's high. Full count. 3 balls, 2 strikes. It was good to be a gangster. Jonathan, you're calling the rally animals the rest of the game. It is all in your hands. You tell me the batter. You tell me that the rally animal. It's all on you. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff McNeil. Already 8 pitches in. This is a great at-bat by McNeil regardless. Fouled back. Knocks the umpire's mask off. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes. McNeil doing everything he needs to do to stay alive. In the dirt, ball 4. Lindor walk-off, no animal. All right. Well, here we go. Jonathan's calling Lindor walk-off. McNeil gets the walk. There's the base runner. The Cubs have blown 7 saves this season. Yep, walk is absolutely as good as a single. That was such a good at-bat by McNeil. That was a 10-pitch at-bat. Yes, he would have loved to have had that double down the line. Something about My Girl and Lindor in the 9th inning that just feels magical. All right. Here's the pitch to Lindor. Good pitch. Strike down the middle. No balls, 1 strike. Yep. Lindor, Soto, Alonso. Oh, he went chasing on that one. No balls, 2 strikes to Lindor. I'm not going to lie, guys. The more I see these City Connect uniforms for the Mets, the more I like them. I was kind of like slightly positive on them, but I really do like them. I like the helmets too. All right, let's go, Lindor. Let's go. No balls, 2 strikes. In the dirt. Holds up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe. We're trying every last little bit of energy we have to work a walk-off here for the Mets. Oh, grounder back up the middle. Oh, it's a double play. Oh, no. Oh, that's so rough. Right back to the pitcher. Man, it's just ugly Yankees jerseys. I guess I'm kind of the brown and yellow stripes, the old school. I'm kind of a sucker for purple. All right, 1 ball, 1 strike to Juan Soto. I know the Mets are still in this, but man, that double play just so killer. Well, regardless, the player of the game by far today is Brett Beatty. The Mets wouldn't even be. I mean, that's all their offense on the day. 5 RBIs, 2 home runs, and win or lose, that's got to feel so good for Beatty, who's trying to battle to stay in the majors once and for all, never go back to the minors again. It's inside, 3-1. So 3-1 to Soto. All right, if Soto gets on, rally bear for Polar Pete. Sounds good. You're calling the shots, Jonathan. You call the shots. Here we go, Soto. Soto grounds it to second, and that's going to do it. Well, that was rough. Congrats to Brett Beatty on a great performance tonight. I mean, absolutely undaunted by the deficit multiple times. Just 2 great swings by Beatty. So congrats to him. Unfortunately, the Mets fall. It's a good Cubs team. They fell behind early and just could not quite get back rolling again. That's just how it goes. Sometimes baseball is a tough sport. Once again, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for your likes, your subscribes. Thank you to the patrons. Again, Patreon, that link is available if you want to check it out. Please do so. You will get early access to the new power rankings that'll come out tomorrow night. I don't know if the Mets will be number 1, but if they can pull off a win tomorrow, they will definitely have a shot of moving up into the top 3 or 4. Let's just hope the Mets can come back. We will not be live tomorrow because the game's on Roku, and I got to do deliveries tomorrow. I have not delivered much this weekend. So I gotta make some money to buy groceries for the family tomorrow and pay the rent and all that good stuff. But we will be back as soon as possible with some more games. I appreciate all you guys so much. Thank you. It's fun. I love having this, and if I'm going to watch Mets games, I might as well watch it with a bunch of Mets fans and just sports fans as well. So a special thank you to everybody hanging out with us here tonight. Midnight and Jonathan and Darren and D-Rels. And let's see, who else did we get? And then the guy that we rated who was like, hey, you only brought 2 people or whatever. We brought 4 people over. It was good. Other guy who need to change his name, can't be mentioned. Redman. Trying to see who else. Justin. Trying to scroll through, so sorry if I'm missing any of you guys, but appreciate all of you guys. As always, you guys rock. Thank you so much. We'll be looking for a better win for the Mets tomorrow and a better game Again, congrats on Brett Beatty. Unfortunately, comes in a loss. Thank you all. Thank you, patrons. Thank you, subscribers. Everybody, you rock. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great night, everybody.